they will be working different shifts, and so they won't be able to make it, but those persons generally know what their responsibilities are. Before we get started into our meeting and training, I'm going to ask Brother Chaplain Linnell that he might come forward and just offer us a prayer. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, brothers, and my dear beautiful wife. Let's join our faith together and let's go to the throne. Heavenly Father, we are grateful and thankful you allowed us to wake up this morning. Father, we gratefully ask your blessings upon this meeting. We ask that you be here in the room with us, Father. We ask, Father, that you help us to understand and work together in harmony and accomplish our goal. Father, this is by your grace. We acknowledge you first, Father. And we ask, Father, that in all that we do, let us come together and get it understood. And let it be to your glorious sake, we pray. And for all those on their way, please give them traveling mercy. Bless each and every household represented in our organization. We ask, Father, that with peace, love, and joy, that we may do great things for your kingdom's sake, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Want to, again, before we get into the meat and potatoes of our meeting here, that we might have some introductions. All of you should know me. My name is Gordon Patton. I'm serving as the ever evolving program or conference coordinator. And I'm grateful and thankful for that, having been trained by some of the best brothers and sisters that I know. It's just a wonderful feeling. And so I'd like for each of you to again introduce yourself and let us know what workshop.
You got some snow on your head. You brush that snow off.
Yeah. That's a great thing, brother.
Yeah, boy, you know, think about it. When we first started, we had black hair. Yeah, we did.
It's a wonderful thing, and I'm just blessed and grateful, thankful to be here. So I'm gonna start right here, and again, you can let us know where you work, where you're from, the workshop you're gonna be teaching or facilitating, and we'll move around the room.
Good morning, everyone. Brother Linnell Chapman. I hail out of Local 600. I am chaplain chair of the Dearborn Staffing Plant, as well as the Dearborn facility. I am co-chaplain over there at Local 600. I'm helping to facilitate, along with my wife, the male and female relationship class, as well as Tina and I are going on our first year anniversary for Valentine's Day. Praise God for that. And definitely been a part of BMIU for over close to 25 years. And thankful to be here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, all. Tina Chapman.
Well, you get your name.
Well, you get your name. Everybody knows me as Tina B throughout the room, so when I get around my people.
Hyphenate.
Right.
Tina
DC.
Thank you, Tina BC.
Y'all forgive me, it's still early.
I'm out of Local 3000, Flower Rock Assembly Plant, we build a Mustang. As my husband said, we're coming up on our first year anniversary. We're facilitating male-female relationships, looking forward to it, and looking forward to working with all of you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Tony Todd, UAW Local 14 President. Teaching, getting it, staying elected with Frank Rouser and Willie Hall as the facilitator. And I did it before in the past, so I'm really looking forward to now. Different strategies, COVID's different, so this is a real unique class, and I truly wouldn't have the job I have today if it wasn't for BMI. So appreciate everybody in here who's mentored me throughout the way, and hopefully we can pass this on with the true intent of the conference and get more people in these positions. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Elijah Laffer here out of Local 1264. instructor BMIU, Wayne State, U of M, we're doing a grievance handling, right? Me and my buddy here just met him last month. Oh. Honored to be here. Thank Gordon for even thinking about it. But he said it best, just passing on. I wouldn't be in any place in the world if somebody else had class, so I'm rolling with you.
Hello, Corey Cox here, out of Local 900. One of the
Hey.
bargaining reps over there. Been a bargaining rep for 23 years. I got involved because of BMIU. So when I got the call to participate in the conference, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll anytime. Anytime, Corey, Pat, you need anything, I'm gonna come through and help them out. So it's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time doing this, so I'm really interested in learning the process of what it all takes to get this thing going. So, good morning to everybody.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Morrison. Yeah, I'm just trying to slow myself down because I've been busy since 2:30 this morning. I'm from Local 900, Michigan Assembly. I'm in pre-delivery, about to do with quality, building a Ranger and the Bronco. Doing good fabulous, you know. Guy works mysterious work. I was supposed to work and they canceled it yesterday. I'm sweating it out. You know, like I got things to do. But, you know, he always works it out for me. It seems like. I'm the co-instructor for the financial planning with Ryan C. Mack. He's a subject matter expert with Facilitator at home. I know it's going to be fabulous because the brother is heavy, very heavy. One thing I love about the brother is that he has a lot of opportunities for people to get in touch and communicate with him in regards to your financial planning free of charge. So we'll share a lot of that information during the workshop. And this is not my first time, but it is my first time with this conference. You really don't have to understand it. I'm just, as a guy told me, I feel a little puzzled with happening because it's a long time coming in regards to we doing things on our own. So good welfare. Today is all time to be my wifey's birthday. Been married for over 35 years. The only baby mama of all my 4 children. I'm stressed back. But you know, and she was good because when I told her that I'm gonna be off today, I said only one little thing. It's like I wasn't planning on it, but I need to go to this meeting real quick. She said, "Well, baby, you go right ahead because I know if you don't, you're gonna be in a situation where I'm gonna feel a little guilty about you not going to take care of what you know you want to do." So you know, that's all about having a good partner. So again, good morning. And thank you.
Right. I'm gonna have his brother just walk in, introduce himself. He sat right up front, you know, so he might as well go ahead and lead in. Who you are, where you're from, which workshop you'll be.
My name is I'm from Local 14, two-wheel power trailer, and I am going to be in facilitating, getting elected and staying elected.
Right. Glad to have you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Walter Robinson Jr. I am co-instructing basic union skills. I'm from UAW Local 900. 32-year employee, just trying to keep it together. And another note to make sure everybody understands is that this region, UAW Region 1A, is now being headed by Laura Dickinson. She's the first African-American female to be the regional director. And she has put in place some protocol. She says that everyone has to be masked up in there. Make sure that you sign the book and take the temperature outside because they had an event here not too long ago that closed the region down for a particular amount of time. So if you're not even going to drink, you put your mask on. because I want to make sure we get her, the respect of taking care of this place, because she gave it to us for free.
Thank you.
Didn't have any problem with it either. When I called her and asked her, she's like, whatever I can do for you guys, all right? And so, make sure that we, adhere to the protocols and, we're here to do what we need to do. We all know what we need to do. People need, training, need learning, and they need knowledge. And all we have to do is just pour into these people, because everybody in here, I can see, probably been around for a little while. And they probably don't have too much longer to go. All right, so.
20, what you talking about?
We want to leave this.
He's looking at his gray hair.
Speak for yourself.
Right.
We want to leave all our respective unions in good hands when we decide to retire. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Sister, lady.
Good morning, Lynette Holden from UAW Local 14. I'm your facilitator with Mr. Morrison here and Mr. Financial Planning.
Yes. All right. Well, glad to have you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Name is Sykes, National Association of Medical Carriers, working for the United States Postal Service. Working on year 34.
Woo! Come on.
Goody.
Yeah. Somebody told me when I first started, I'd be saying this, I'd be like, yeah, right. But, it's not gonna make me a millionaire, but I've done what I've done. The good thing about it was really, and it kept me pumped for a couple of days before I came off that high, because I got a call from two of my good brothers. And they were like, David Sykes. And I was like, yeah, just Washington Gordon's on the phone. I was like, what's happening, man? They said, look, we need you to teach grievance handling. All right, send me the particulars, I'm on. That's all you gotta do. And when he told me, so yeah, because we're gonna do African Americans in leadership. Now, I've been a veteran of Black men in unions, but now we're crossing that bridge.
Thank you.
We are crossing that bridge. I walk around with a chip on my shoulder. I don't mean to be long-winded, but I walk around with a chip on my shoulder the way you and him treated us. Because we treated them with nothing but respect and dignity and revenue.
Yes, sir.
Real happy.
There's a lot of things that I've learned when I was with Black men in unions. But I take to the workroom floor with me today. I'll be teaching grievance handling. Lance is going to be, we think he's going to be the facilitator. But he's going to be doing his part. And then we're going to have Quentin Allen also. But the thing is, we're going to make this something that people are going to remember. I had some co-workers come up to me the other day and say, look, we got stewards, we need an adult in the room. Do you mind running for office? I said, y'all know I stepped down, so y'all folks could do what y'all supposed to do, because I wasn't gonna be, like you said, I wasn't gonna be around forever. I said, but I'm always there as a resource. Well, you get the wrong people in office. And they said, well, we need an adult. And they would go around saying things, and I tell people all the time, it's just a title. Oh, the union's doing almost, so now what you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna go to my workplace, do my job. I said, well, let me explain something to you. Since you're on your high horse, you can have that damn title, but you ain't gonna get my experience, and you ain't gonna get my knowledge.
Hello.
I share it with you if you ask politely. But that's a good thing. It's good to see everybody. It's been a while since we've seen this pandemic. It's driving my ass crazy. I'm still out there humping that mail. Can't get no hazard pay. What I gotta do, what I gotta do. So thank you. Welcome. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
Michael Alexander from Toledo, Ohio. I'm on the UAW Local 12, Region 2B, and it's good to be here. I'm the labor engagement liaison with United Way Greater Toledo. I went on staff in 2003. And I always tell that story after my first AAIU. Me and Skip was together the other day at Basement Burger Bar getting ready for this. And we were talking about that at BMIU and the great impact that it had in my life when I met the brothers that came up here for the first time for the leadership training. So I'm gonna embark with Skip on parliamentary procedure, which I facilitated 1 year with Skip, and kind of intertwined maybe some leadership stuff in there. Usually with Black Men Union, I kind of did advanced leadership and things like that. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm glad to be a part of this, African Americans teaching and leadership. Like I said, I'm an alumni of Black Men Union, and proud of it. And so just glad to see all you brothers, sisters, brothers and sisters.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Madam,
Good morning, brothers and sisters. How are everyone?
good morning.
My name is Jennifer Bloomberg. I am out of UAW Local 163, Westlake, Michigan. I currently work for Detroit Diesel. I'm about 15 months into my employment there. I'm formerly out of Local 3000. I used to be recording secretary for my unit, and I was heavily involved. Women's Committee, community service, and I supported everything regionally at the local, other local. I'm a CBTU member, EVAC member, CJF member, and I'm just all over the place. I currently don't hold a position in my local, and I'm just learning, and I'm very excited to be a part of this endeavor with my brothers here and to learn a lot and, you know, move forward with my teaching journey. So thank you.
Before you start, anybody got somebody in their family looking for a job, post office hire.
On every door. On every door. My name is Skip Turner. I'm a great grandfather and I'm proud of that. But I say that.
Great grandfather, you say you're great grandfather, biological great.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, but based on the treatment that I get from my children and their children, I must be a great grandfather. It reminds me of when I first came to BMIU. I was young, full of something in vinegar, and y'all know what that word is. And I was in awe of the brothers that was there with the gray hair that, how I say it, that knew everything. These are the brothers I cozied up to and I listened to and I sat with, I got to know. And they shared that knowledge and they passed it down. And I have bought into that theory so much that I started my own business. And guess what it's called? Share knowledge and inspire people. And it's doing okay, and I'm not mad at you. I'm gonna sit down right now because I can talk for 2 days, but I'm not.
All right, brother.
Last but not least.
Not last, we got people on here too.
Okay, no, well, you here, and we gonna have you do your thing, and then we'll have the other.
Yeah, not last.
Oh, okay.
So as you all know, I'm Big Phil, AKA Paparazzi, and man of many voluntoldisms. Voluntoldisms, that's what I consider it. And you know, I still stand in awe of the first time that, you know, I came to, you know, BMIU, and I've told the story, that, you know, many would have thought that I was a racist Republican, because I had issues with Black folks, you know, but, you know, living working in that field that I was working in at that particular time, you know, you just kind of learn, you know, that stuff that you know, from your environment. And so I come to BMIU and I'm just like, oh, damn, the brothers is doing it. You know, I just stood in awe and I'm just like, you know, and I'm looking at Skip and I'm just like, and he's telling the story and I'm just like, you know, and I'm just like, you know, thinking about, you know, how I got forced to do a lot of things, volunteer, you know, yeah, I'm just like, I never envisioned facilitating, instructing, co-conference coordinator 4 times. Not by choice, that was volunteer. I was told, you know, ordered to do so. And I was, again, the 4th time was the last time. And And me and a few of us was in that last meeting that we had with U of M, and I used words that aggravated the hell out of them. I used words like boycott.
Right.
Shut this motherfucker down, because you get tired of people just lying to you in your face, especially when you know the truth, And, many of us, we ask questions that we already know the answers to. So we just want to see what you're gonna say. So, so this is part of the teachers this type of education that is priceless, and so I guess I was blessed because I was kind of voluntold to be the president of Common Ground. I tried to pass it off to other people. They, no, you do it, whatever, So, and I don't know if that had anything to do with I don't call it leadership, I call it facilitating. Because, we have to facilitate things in our life, So that's, that's kind of like my story. And so I'm just glad that we here and we got some powerful brothers and sisters that's here on par with us, and I just can't wait to get the party started, as they say.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so we got Skip online, if you wanna, not Skip, Sam, counterpart. I guess that got the message, got the message. Right. Sam, and then can't see the names on the other people.
Denise, Lavere. It looks like it's me, Denise, Lavere, Mayers, and
okay.
Dana Green.
Okay.
Just,
all right.
just glad to see everybody. I know everybody can't hear me, but I'm just so in awe of Black men in unions and the impact it's had on so many lives. I see Tina and Linnell there. They're going to be working. I'm going to be working with them in the male-female relationships workshop. And I'm just going to sit back and listen this time, which is a very odd position for me. I'm going to zoom in on you folks. All
right. Can the rest of you introduce yourself?
Yes. Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
My man. All right. This is Lavere Mears. It's been a 15-year hiatus since I've been here, so I apologize for the delay, but seeing what's going on and seeing what's happening to BMIU made me come out of the relics to come back and, get this thing going so in the right direction. So thank you, Mr. Patton, for reaching out personally. I appreciate it. Mr. Kirtland, all my peeps out there who's been there since the early 2000s and before, I appreciate your help and get me back up to speed to what started BMIU going, and hopefully we can turbo this guy into another realm, because right now with the young people out there and the people that we need to affect, that's our tomorrow. And if we don't have nothing today, there's nothing tomorrow. So just happy to be here, and I'm going to be a facilitator for the labor history workshop and looking forward to working with the team there. And I'm just getting up to speed right now, so bear with me while I get some traction. I just was offered the opportunity to, be a part with people that I haven't seen in almost 2 decades. So like I said, looking forward to working with you guys and ladies too.
Thank you.
No problem.
What else we got?
Good. The next person, we got 2 more. You muted.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not good at this. I'm Denise. I'm out of local 898. I am going to be facilitating collective bargaining, which will be a first for me, so facilitating that. I have instructed FMLA before and facilitated at many other classes, been a part of the BMIU, I think, since I hired in. I have 25 years at Ford. I'm currently out on special assignment to get the M2M, member to member 2.0 program, hopefully started and kicked off so we can present it to other locals and regions. Happy to be here. sorry I can't be there in person, but I gotta play Nina also. Good to see everyone.
All
Good
righty.
to see you.
All right.
Thank you.
And then we got Dana.
Morning, everybody. My name is Dana Green from Local 2280. That's the Van Dyke Sterling Heights plant. I work in the powerhouse there. I've been working with BMIU for the past 5 years. I've been one of the co-instructors for the African American Life History class. I just came back from North meets South in Atlanta, where I worked as a facilitator in the African American Life History program. I was picked to be the coordinator for the University of Michigan's BMIU, but for the respect of you guys, I stepped down, and I was recently called to come here to help assist and be a co-instructor with the African American Life History program. So again, I've instructed it, like I said, 3 years. It's been a wealth of knowledge and understanding and fun for me. I look forward to it every year. I was different in most cases. I never actually had an opportunity to sit out in the audience. So I'm kind of looking for the opportunity one year where I can actually sit back and enjoy MIU versus instructing. And I know that's not the way of BMIU to come in and immediately come to instructing, but because of my credentials, I have a master's degree in African American history and labor studies. I obtained at Wayne State University, so I was given that opportunity because of my credentials. And I hope again that I help assist in putting on a great class in African American life history. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to the transport court.
Who else we got?
That's it.
We got, anybody else?
No, that's it. That's it.
All right. So I want to thank you all for those introductions. Again, I think everybody knows that Black men in unions has been our foundation, right? The leadership, such as Brother Skip, Reese, Bryant, that was our foundation. They basically created Black men in unions. We ran the program, right? We did everything. We, again, made money for the university. And so with the disrespect that came, many of us, and I want to thank Brothers Big Phil, I know he stepped out for a minute, but I want to thank him for his vision. And so we came together to create something of our own, which is African Americans in Unions, Leadership Conference. And so BMIU is past for me. I loved it. I love everything it stood for. I love the people that, again, that were involved in it. That's the most important thing to me. I'm not looking back though. I'm looking forward. And so we're going to, again, make something of our own. It's going to be beautiful. We have a great partnership with Eastern Michigan University, where we have an opportunity, again, to make money and to decide exactly what we want to do as an organization. Again, I want to thank Big Phil for creating this Common Ground Education Foundation. And that is our foundation, and that's where we will mainly be running our business. African Americans in Unions Leadership Conference is a conference that we are sponsoring. Okay, so I want everybody to be clear. Being that we do have this great resource of knowledge.
Hi.
Shares knowledge and inspires people.
Hi, baby.
That he might share some knowledge with us.
Thank you.
As far as being a facilitator or an instructor within our conference. So having said that, I want to thank Brother Skip Turner for accepting this opportunity to share his knowledge and to inspire people as he always does.
Thank you,
Thank
board.
you so much, sir.
We have 2 whole teams here, whole instruction besides us. No, I'm
We got 2 out of 3.
not a problem.
who has the least amount of experience with this type of program? 1, 2, 3. You have a little bit more than they do, I believe, because we.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you would go to one flip chart, you would go to the other one?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Let me say this before Skip goes any further. I am personally elated because I believe that we have assembled the greatest instructional staff that I've ever seen. And I want to thank you all for your commitment. Carry on.
And I'm glad you said that because I looked at the list when Gordon asked me to do this training, and I'm saying 3/4 of the people in the training have been through this teaching techniques training class 15 times. I'm not gonna do it the same way. It's gonna be a little bit different. That's why I asked them the least experienced people to take the podium. First question I'm gonna put to the group, and it's gonna be in the form of a group discussion. As an instructor facilitator, what do you need to do before your class? And if you two would alternate whatever they say, write down, distill it down into 1 or 2 words and write that down, and we're gonna deal with this. Tony?
Get materials for your class.
Materials. David?
Communicate with your partners, facilitator and co-instructor.
What'd you say, me?
Yeah.
And what?
Communicate. Yeah, communicate.
Eric was up next, and you two?
If it's all possible to share the information, not only with your instructional team and your instructor team facilitator, but also communicate with the coordinator, so that you both are on the same page as far as what is expected at that workshop.
Including the coordinator.
Yes.
Let me stop you right there. I know, Tina, you're up next, but that's a very important point. Anybody know what the teaching outline is? What's the teaching outline?
How your class in general is how it's flowing.
How your class is gonna flow? Anybody ever been on a vacation?
Itinerary.
Back in the day.
How did you know where you was going?
Itinerary.
How did you know how you were gonna get there? You laid out a roadmap. How much money were you gonna spend? If the smart ones will put that down. Or else you're gonna come back broke. So I don't know if you've sent your teaching outline into the coordinators or not. But we have a simple sheet, and you can take one and pass it around and fill yours out. I can show you a sample of one if you need to know what goes on there. I'm gonna use yours, Tina, Jones, JB, if you don't mind. Will you mind? You got it? I'll wait till you get the sheets and you can follow me. I don't want to go too fast. I don't have that many, so some of you may have to share or make copies, which is fine. One reason we do this is because if it ever happens that the university you're affiliated with or the organization that you're affiliated with wants to give credit, they're going to ask the organizers, well, what did they learn? Organizers can say, I don't know, they went to parliamentary procedure, but what did they learn? Or they can pull out a teaching outline and cover in detail what went on in that classroom. And that's just like if you go to Vegas, how you gonna get there, who you gonna fly with, what hotel you gonna stay at, how much money you gonna get, where you gonna eat, you lay it all out. So when you come back, you still got some money, you're not broke. So at the top, students' names and who they're gonna be, that's just informational stuff, data that you need on there, their mailing address and stuff. Subject of the class, this one says parliamentary procedure. What would yours say, Tom?
Getting and staying elected.
Getting and staying elected. What would yours say, David?
Grievance handling.
Grievance handling. So you already know how we're doing this. How long is the workshop? In the name of this conference, it's how many days?
3 days. 3 days.
In the case of teaching techniques that I was talking with you about, it's 5 days. It's a week-long conference. And how many participants and all that? What's the purpose of the workshop?
Say what?
Woman educate.
Woman educate.
That's certainly what you want on there. Now, here goes the important part. Students will be able to do what? And this is where they're gonna wind up getting credit for this.
Effectively do a grievance review, my grievance handling class, how to effectively
Apply the knowledge.
apply the knowledge to it, being a.
You said apply the knowledge, you said effectively, who said something else?
Communicate with the opposite sex. and-
You all are correct, and action verb is what goes in here. Students will be able to effectively communicate. Students will be able to develop an agenda. Students will be able to do something, and that's what's gonna get them credit if the organization or the university ever decide to give credit. Now, it don't just stop there. What's an icebreaker?
There's something to, well, it's something to take people, the stress off, you know, where you just want to, early in the morning, you'll come in and like a simple icebreaker for like, what degrees does it take ice to freeze? You know, or you do something like, somebody turned me on, to Mark Phillips, he had a thing called The Real You. And it's 3 questions, like, how do you see yourself, you know, this is how you see yourself, this is how others see you, and, you know, from that point on, and everybody has fun, so now it's more or less like, everybody's got that laugh out, they're feeling upbeat, they're connecting with the instructors and the facilitators, and the facilitators and instructors are connecting with them. So therefore, we're in a class where everybody's like on the same page. Now we know where we're going. Instructors and facilitators are driving the class, but the participants are building the car for us to drive.
Confidently built. Yeah.
And along with that, I pray you make all of them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
To engage.
Now, I agree with you and I agree with both of you, but there is a way that you can make that icebreaker better. Now, we can do it like Mark did it with the paper and from the front of the room, but what's a better way of doing it?
Have them participate in a exercise of some sort.
Get them to stand up and move around.
You still in my thunder. Get up just a minute, get up. Go across the room. What did I do? What did he do? He got up out of his seat. If you let your students sit in their seat all day, every day, don't expect too much.
Right.
So get them up, move around, have them interact with the party, interact with them. And while you're doing it, do an icebreaker. And if you're a genius, you're gonna relate that icebreaker to your subject. So they're gonna learn something through the icebreaker as well as through your class. Any more questions on the icebreaker? I mean, no, we're not on icebreaker. We're on the teaching outline. And if you look down at the bottom, it says teaching techniques. What kind are you gonna use? This is what the administrators and the educators and curriculum developers look at. Are you gonna, what's a presentation outline? I mean, a presentation technique. I'm singing a song, I'm doing the presentation in front of me. That's a presentation technique. What's a role play technique?
Everyone.
Can you two get it? Can you show me how you get into a fight?
What you say about my mom?
What do they do? They're role playing. So you can teach about a fight or how not to fight in your lesson if that's what you're gonna do. Have your students role play. There are several techniques you can use. What's a case study? What'd you say?
Proven data for a well-documented.
Any situation, you're right, a well-documented any situation that you may come across in your workplace. Except as an instructor, you don't tell the answer. You read the study, you read the paragraph or two, and then you develop 2 or 3 questions at the end. No more than that. 1 or 2 is good, 3 is even better. And you throw the questions to the people and they discuss and come up with answers that they offer. Let's just say this is the issue. What's the policy on drugs in the workplace? I didn't answer, right? I just asked a question, but I'm gonna toss the issue to you. So.
And I ask a question.
No. Because the facilitator or the instructors run the class will toss the ball back. Unless somebody has something to say on your point, then you toss it to that person, whoever that is. Somebody say something, whoever it is, toss him the ball.
Refer to your language.
Refer to your language. So what we're doing is, even though you the instructor, you got all the knowledge, you bringing knowledge out from the people. This only represents whatever the issue is. I'm not hogging the issue and telling you everything I know about it, but rather I'm tossing it and you giving me what you know about it. And surprisingly, all of the information that you probably lined up to teach is gonna come out in that discussion. And if it doesn't, you're in the blank. So that way you got everybody involved, you got everybody participating, you got everybody discussing, yet you ain't doing the lecturing. That's the worst kind of teaching you can do is lecture. Because they only gonna hear the first minute and a half, if they hear that.
Even 99 times.
Or they're zoning out, their mind going to what I got to do when I leave here. Am I gonna make it to see Michigan State? Walter, that was for you. So a teaching outline, lastly, at the bottom of it, is materials needed. So we got in here, what do we have? We got handouts, that would be listed. We have flip charts, that would be listed. We have parliamentary procedure books, if we're gonna do that, that would be listed on there. So why is all these things listed on here? Let's say Damon's teaching a class. Uh-oh, post office calling, he got to go deliver some mail. Skip Turner got to come in and teach your class that you developed. What better way for me to teach the class he developed than to follow his outline? Because I wouldn't know, what did you teach? What do you teach?
Grievance handling.
Grievance handling, even though I may know something about it, I'm not following what he planned for his students to learn, unless he gives me a teaching outline. So if you haven't turned in a teaching outline to the fellas, please do so. You don't have to do it today, but take your time and email it, scan, huh?
It would be very wise too, because I've already requested it, but go ahead, my brother.
Thank you. So that's the use of the teaching outline. Now, we're going back to Tina, because she had something to say about the other issue, if you remember.
Brian Paul.
That's all right. So we're listing
Research, that's what it was.
what the teams do before the class, research, right? Oh, I see right now what I got to do. Let me ask the two facilitators, are those the only colors you have?
There's, I think, one.
Huh?
There's a reason why.
Are those the only colors you have? Let me ask a different question. Why are you writing in the same color?
I got you.
There's a reason, and you, why you writing in the same color?
Well, it was here and that was all that was available when I walked in.
There's no other color there?
No, sir.
I got a blue one, you want a blue one?
Yes, you go.
Yeah, I'll take it, blue.
And the reason for that is what?
What you see.
Visual stimulus.
Visual stimulus. You write in the same color, it bleeds together. And another thing, and we're gonna talk about flip charts as well. That small print, I got to read yours. I got to.
Oh, we got it right there.
Yes.
Okay.
As a facilitator, you might be teaching old people, young people, people with eyesight that's challenged. So you have to write in the form where everybody in the room can see.
Okay.
Absolutely. And what does a different color do? Am I going too fast?
No.
What does a different color do? It makes it jump out. Your eyes are attracted to different colors. It's easy to read and easy to understand. So when you're facilitating instructors and facilitators, you want to use a flip chart, multiple colors, write large, so that everybody can see it. What else do we do before the class? Tony?
Oh, who's in your class?
Ooh, that's important. Quick story, young man, I was just got elected to recording secretary. My president and vice president was out of town or something, and we got a call from the region. We need one of you to come and talk about, because I built tanks. We built tanks for the government. We need somebody to go down to UOD and talk about the tank production, right? I'm full of it, you know. I don't, no problem. I get down there. My audience was peaceniks. They didn't want to hear nothing about building tanks and how much killing the tanks did. So I quickly had to change the outline, had to change the talk and talked about the process and how well made and how the tolerance are 0 to 1,000th of an inch That's how close you gotta get it in order for that tank not to fall apart when something hits it. So you better know your audience, is the point.
And as a veteran, I think.
It very, thank you. It helps you to know your audience because it helps you prepare your outline for who you got in the room. You can never know the depth of the knowledge in the room. You can never know the depth of the knowledge in the room. Don't assume people don't know everything, or don't assume people know everything just because they're an older group. I've heard people say, well, that's the way we've always done it, but it's wrong. Nobody ever taught you right. Anybody ever watch Bar Rescue?
Yeah.
I mean, people been in business years and they're failing simply because they never had any training. This guy goes in and trains people and turns around a failing bar. It's the same with instructors and facilitators as well. Anything else you do before your class meets? Do we set the room up? So it's possible, yeah.
Set the room up.
Yeah, it's possible. Depending on the facility, if you're working in the union facility and they got furniture movers, you want to let them know so they can set it up for you how you want.
Decide how you want to set up.
Or you can change it if it's already set up, what works best for you. And that's another subject we can talk about, but just briefly, what's the best setup for the type of training we do?
U-shape.
Why?
Everybody can see, you see the whole room.
You're not looking at the back of people's heads. Everybody can look at each other and how they talk. So far, we got gather materials, discuss teaching plan with staff and coordinators, research the topic, know who's in your class. What do you have?
Talk with coordinators, talk with your instructors, and set the room up.
Anything else we do before the class?
Safety protocols, are we wiping tables down now?
Safety protocols are very important. People can be terrified, especially with COVID going around. Are you going to enforce the safety protocols? Do you know what they are? So you got to educate yourself on what a safety protocol is and how you can enforce it, or take over and enforce your own protocols as long as they meet the standards of the building you're working in. Yeah.
As well as the materials that we'll be using to wipe down stuff, we have that information as well. People do ask questions like, when did you wipe the table off?
You should be able to tell them if you're wiping that table off. Really? What?
And accommodations. But you might have a handicap in the class.
But you also need to know the facility too.
Yeah.
Where the bathroom is, where we're gonna have, where the whole group gets together. You're also gonna let them know what your time things are. You gotta have that for yourself. To say, if class starts at 8 o'clock, 8:01, you late. That's.
You know what the consequences.
And then what the consequences are, yes. Eric?
Also, in most cases, depending on a good point, Brother Sykes, is that you want to know that the facility has the equipment that you need for your instructional class. Whether it be easel chart, whether it be PowerPoint, whether it be a portable screen or the smart board. You know, these are things that we're using these days because of technology.
Absolutely. And one thing you really need to know, and I'm glad you brought that point up, Eric, is that whatever technology you're working with, get your behind in the room and test it. Worst thing you can do is get to a class and try to run something, it ain't working. Now what? We killing class hours and curriculum time on technical problems. Not good. You're gonna experience technical problems, but if you take every step you can take before it happens, then we also know we can set that aside and move on until we get that right. Have a plan B. That one should be written down.
Have a plan B?
Yeah.
Plan B.
Any other thing you should do before your class?
Temperature of the room. So you have, you may be in a facility where rooms are shared, you control temperature. So, granted, the number of participants in the class is one thing, but also if it's, where the temperature is set. It just brings out another point that, we'll get back to the equipment, make sure you do have the AV number or contact of that facility along with the
If there's a Wi-Fi password or whatever, make sure you have it and then it works.
Now, unless the coordinators have told you, if you got a problem, let me know and I'm gonna deal with the tech people or whatever, that's fine, but you follow the protocol and do that. I go off and teach in several locations. This time we was in Houston, right? We were teaching for the IUOE, guys that drive the bulldozers that build the roads, stuff like stationary engineers who heat buildings. That's what we were doing the training for. So it was like 4 of us, 4 instructors, 4 different classes. And classes were going fine. All of a sudden the lights go out. What's going on? You can't figure it out. We go over there, we throw the switch, lights come on. The class next door, their lights went out. So they beating on the wall, what's up, what's up? They throw their switch, our lights go out, their lights go out. The lights were interconnected and we didn't know that because we didn't test it. Until we put in a complaint and now each classroom is on its own. We throw it in. But things you don't know, so that was another issue. Anything else we do before the class meets?
You, go ahead. Rules and repercussions.
Between the instructors?
And with the, like with the class, like the ground rules, you're gonna be late, you want to find, you're gonna play, or you want to dance, you want to do whatever.
Yeah, those things you're gonna let the class know, but it's great to develop those things in the instructional meeting, whatever you're gonna do. Like we met and we talked, and we got a couple of prizes, parliamentary procedure books, that people that do good and answer the right question and do what they're supposed to do, we're gonna give out as a gift. A little reward for participation in doing it. Tony?
Have a timed outline of your class, so you know if you're running behind or not, speed up or drop something out, if the conversation's going good or whatever.
You better.
Know if you're on task or not.
Because when you facilitate, say it's lunchtime, oh, I'm in the middle of a sentence. What's gonna happen? So if you want to be what we call a master instructor, all of these techniques you want to develop, you want to learn, you want to use, and the best way to get good at them is to what? So I'm not picking on the new people, but that's why I asked that you get up and do it, because I know some of these people can do this because they've done it. But you guys are getting the practice, so you're gonna retain it a little bit longer. Yes.
Make sure your instructor and your facilitator on the same.
Whoa!
Say that again, look.
Make sure your instructor and facilitator on the same page.
My man was.
Because the reason I say that, I had the problem in Atlanta. I had to just manually force my class to shut down for break of the instructor didn't want to, but everybody didn't want to go. It was time. So I told them either shut it down or else. And so you have to be on the same page.
And I support you on that. Because if you can't make anybody learn. I don't care how bad you want to teach it. If your students don't want to learn it, you hit it. So if you don't take the time to create the climate for learning in your classroom, guess what? You got a problem. So yeah, take some time up front to develop that camaraderie, to use that icebreaker, to develop that relationship between you and the student. I'm not better than you. I'm just in front of the room today. You're gonna be in front of the room tomorrow. So it serves you well. Not only does it serve you well, it serves your organization well, it serves your union well, and it serves the people that's learning well. And the other things you do before the class meets. We said curriculum. We talked about presentation. Instructors, do you allow your facilitator to teach anything?
Yeah. We already do that. We've already discussed this.
I'm not sure what standard AAIU is gonna set, but I say you should, if they're ready. Don't embarrass them, throw them up there and teach this, and they can't teach. Help them, don't let them fail, make sure they know what they're doing, and give them the flow.
If they have something to say.
No, what'd you say? If they have something to say? What did he tell you? He was voluntold. Because I was a shy kid, I never would have learned anything if that I'd have waited to get up and say, I want to do it, but I wasn't gonna say that. People say, oh, you look like you know something, come on, you can do this, you can do this. Yes.
I had that happen to me, but it wasn't that. It was a emergency situation. One of our instructors took ill.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God I was prepared. I had did a lot of research prior to the class. So, and I read up through all the material, so I was prepared. But yeah, it was my first time in front of the class actually teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to basically pick up where she left off the next day. And yeah, I was scared, crazy, but it came together well.
I have to give you this quick story that the reason that was reinforced on me, and I know it's true. How many of you remember Mark Phillips?
Oh, yeah.
The great Reverend Mark Phillips. We was teaching together, and we had this facilitator who kept saying, I want to teach, I want to teach, I want to teach. And me and Mark looking just like, okay, not a problem. He kept saying, let me teach something, let me teach something. So we asked him, well, what can you teach? How much can you do? I can do 2 hours, and you know his name. I don't want to mention his name. I can do an hour or two. So, okay, we set it up, came back to him, you on, right? It wasn't Phil, I'm just using Phil. He got up, he started to talk, and you could see in his face, he panicked. And he talked all of 1 minute and 30 seconds. And he said, I'm done. We didn't embarrass the brother, but we just looked at each other and we picked it up and we went on with the class. So we made a promise, Mark and I made a promise to ourselves. And the other facilitators, we're gonna make sure they're ready to teach that section, ready for it, and we're gonna be ready. We ain't gonna turn our back on them while they're teaching. We're gonna be ready to step in and help out if they need it.
Phil, you came a long way.
Eric's hands up and then I'm what you say, I didn't hear you. It wasn't Phil, it was not Phil.
Because I wouldn't have said that.
Thank you very much.
At least in my experience, as a facilitator, when you pass out handouts or giving the class rules or some of the instructions, that's a form of teaching. And that gets you ready for the going a little further. They may give you 5 minutes. You might say you do your first facilitating class, you talk for 15 minutes after 2 days. And you move it gradually, getting better and better, doing different things. That's my own personal experience.
The one thing I think that would help me out was that when I was facilitating, I introduced the instructors. I laid down, these were the ground rules. Like I say, class starts at 8, 8:01, you late, it's gonna be $1. There's gotta be some kind of thing, but the thing is to build a facilitator because sooner or later, they're gonna be there. And then while this facilitator is talking, the participants are looking like they're not leaving this guy hanging out on the thing because I'll tell them, y'all got any problems? We'll talk to the facilitator first. He'll bring it to us. We'll discuss it as 3 people. What's our best option? And we'll tell him. He can go back and say, hey, look, they don't have a problem with that. But we're only gonna be here for a short time. Don't make it. You're gonna have people, regardless of how many times you tell them to be on time, they're gonna come when they get ready. And they'll already have their dollar out.
JB?
But you also have to realize that as part of knowing the room and knowing who's in your audience, we got a lot of C crew, we got a lot of D crew. We got a lot of people who will come in on Friday night and got off work 4 hours before the fact. They're gonna fall asleep in the back of the room. You gotta tell them, stand up, go take a walk. Or you'll have people who got to a conversation that's just coming with their money or whatever. But another point I wanted to make on what you said is, giving out the class rules and a lot of times getting people to do their collectives. This will be my 3rd time facilitating, and last time I did it, you have to not only steer the bus and, get people all on the same page, you gotta get people who are trying to interfere and, take it in a whole different direction. Like, no, this is what we decided. But another thing is I've had the experience to where the instructional staff will let me chime in and give my own experiences and let people relate it to the question was asked, well, if I come to work and I do my job, why do I need a union? And I chimed in and gave the example of, because you can still get harassed just because you're the only other female in the department. So things of that nature help you on that journey if you're starting out.
I thought I saw the other hand before you walked, my hand was up there walking. And then Eric.
Yeah, on the facilitator, like I said, I've been a facilitator, maybe a year or two or whatever. But I think as we develop, just my opinion, the African American leadership, that one of the boards that I chair in Toledo, we have what we call a third. It's basically an instructor, and it's a co-chair in training. And his goal is hopefully to take my place eventually. And so facilitators, I think, has gotten away from the fact that they're supposed to be instructors in training. They're not supposed to be against it. They're not supposed to be 10-year facilitators and 15-year facilitators. You're supposed to ascend. So we have to give them some duties where they can come out front and teach. And what Scott said, some of the interaction will help you with that when you're giving out rules and doing the collectives and different things. And I think the 1 year we did one class, we made sure that Willie knew that he could, when me and Frank were doing the leadership, Willie knew that he could do a piece. And we let him know what it was, and he knew what it was, and when it was time for him to do it. So I think that we can let our facilitators know that they're kind of like instructors in training or something. Eventually, that they'll be.
That is so vital.
That's absolutely correct, sir. Go ahead.
That is so vital because we get old, things happen to us. There's gonna be a turnover. And if you don't prepare the people behind you to take over and be ready, come on now. Something's gonna happen. Walter, I saw it. I hate to listen to him. Go ahead, Walter. I'm kidding.
Feel the love. Something that Jennifer said is very important between the facilitator and the core instructors. You guys need to get on the same page as to how you're going to interact in that workshop. If it's something that you want to say, you're the facilitator, you should be able to bring out your experiences and your opinions or the knowledge that you have. You just got to figure out how y'all are going to communicate with each other. I mean, you could be as easy as raising your hand, or you could just say, can I piggyback on that or something? Find a way so it doesn't look clumsy of how you're going to interact in that workshop. Also, you should talk about your dress at the time before you get there, because you don't want one guy in jeans and sweatpants and t-shirt, and then the other guy in a 3-piece suit. Right. So make sure that you get that together before you get in there to find out. So so everybody's comfortable in how they are.
Eric's hands up, then you, Tony.
Through practices of facilitating instruction. As the facilitator, a lot of times the first time to be on the staff. So I always find that if I allow if I have the instructors over the ground rules for the day, that gives them an opportunity of classroom, and gives instruction, the knowledge of the facility, the facilitator, that's your responsibility, where the bathrooms are at, the upstairs, downstairs, whatever, the elevators, escalators, different amenities of that venue. The Icebreaker is another great opportunity for the facilitator to conduct a session of the workshop. That way they can break the ice on, using their isms as they do it. Because it's very important to develop those isms of that individual, in the workshop. The biggest thing that I can say about the facilitator and the instructor is that eye contact. The last workshop that I facilitated with down in North and South was that I had a reverend and a bishop in the workshop, instructors in the classroom. And the two of them, wow, it was such a dynamicness inside the workshop classroom, is that at any time that I need to share something, or he, as an instructor, he would introduce, he would offer me an opportunity to share. on that particular topic. So, you know, that's a way that the instructor can also, give that facilitation confidence in regards to their participation.
Tony, then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, unrelated, but it was brought up. Are we gonna have collectives?
I think that's a decision that we can collectively make, because that has not really been discussed thus far.
Right.
And so,
We need to know because.
well, yeah, I mean, in terms of your outline and doing your classroom instruction. You got an opinion, brother?
I've always been in favor of it, but I don't think it's necessarily mandatory.
Can y'all address it after the training statement? Because we got one more item and then move on.
Yes, sir.
Skip, when Skip did that about the, let's say we're gonna move on, that's another thing you got to control in your class. Of when you're gonna take time, because some people are gonna be a little longer than others. And so you're gonna have to be able to kind of set that standard too, and then you're gonna bring it back together and move on to the topic.
So at this point, we've been here about an hour, a little over an hour. I'm gonna throw an icebreaker in, but it's also a way to reinforce what we talked about this morning. I want you all to stand and line up over here, but I want you to line up from the most seniority on the job to the least without saying a word. Without saying a word. Now, what is this doing? Number one, you getting up out your seat, you moving, you thinking, you engaged in the process. At the same time, you're taking a little break.
You say the most seniority?
The most seniority to the least without saying a word.
Yeah, which job?
The job you got now.
Oh, okay.
Most to the least. You can't talk. You can't talk. I love it, Tony. Most to the least. And we're gonna see if you're right. The test at the end of this. Y'all don't know? What's up? Are we ready? We straight down here. Are we ready? I thought y'all was straight. We thought you could figure this out. Okay, no more, stop. How much?
34.
34. 24. Get out of line, I can take. Huh? 32. Come on down the line. How much?
32. So you down.
26.
Oh, you got it.
What'd you hold on?
25.
25, yeah. 24.
15. 9.
18.
8.
6. So that shows this, the level of seniority in the room, and if you add up all the years, you got over 100 years of seniority, which means you got over 100 years of knowledge in the classroom. So don't BS your classmates. If you don't know, ask somebody in the class, ask your fellow instructor. Thank you very much for that icebreaker. Something that simple, you can go over. The finest form of flattery to any instructor is stealing their material, so be my guest.
Stone. Stone.
But you don't have to just use that one, you can use anyone that you make up. For instance, I think it was Eric that was talking about instructor, or Walter talking about instructors' presentation skills and how you cut off an instructor. Well, me and my colleague, he's an instructor out of Tucson, Arizona. We were in Baltimore, we were running a classroom, so we're gonna play a trick on the student. It wasn't a trick, we're gonna see how knowledgeable they were. So I played the bad guy, and he played the nice instructor. And I would step on his lines and cut him off and say, that's not the way to do it, you need to do this. If you don't know what you're doing, why don't you sit down and let somebody that know they're gonna do it. So I go on and teach, and he looked hurt, you know, he go sit down, he looked hurt so bad. It got to the point where the students rebelled. They went and got the director and told him, he's treating this guy terribly, he won't let him do that. Now, the director was in on it, we had told him what was gonna happen. They had me go out the room while they tell on him. It went on for about 2 hours. It turned into respect. Shouldn't we all, we're all union folks, shouldn't we respect each other? Why is this going? And there was a lesson to be learned, so we let it happen. And it was amazing. It was amazing. So yeah, never tell your instructor, no, that's not it. But you can say, there is another way to look at that. So you're not degrading.
You say, it's how you say it.
It's how you say it. You're not degrading your fellow instructor, but you present another point of view. You took the issue, you tossed the issue back out in a different form. Next on the agenda, do y'all really need a break? Should I move on?
Keep rolling.
She said you're gonna miss her.
Right, so I hold up a little bit.
If you gotta go, you gotta go.
I gotta go that bad.
Okay.
I won't listen.
Yes.
You know, this little scenario is very important because, again, you know, adult learners are the most hard people in the world to instruct. You have to understand it. But you can ease a lot of the tension in regards to, like, what I do, I put it on them as far as how the facilitator do it, is to let them know, look, if you gotta go, you got to get up politely and just leave the room. Okay, don't try not to disturb everyone else. You try to get the information you know, gonna miss out on. But again, you know, you gotta offer that opportunity for the participants as well. You know, put some ownership on them too, because that's part of their responsibility as being participants.
I generally put it right in the ground rules. If you gotta go, go. But if you gotta go 7 times, you'd be in the hospital, not in class. So, you know, make a joke out of it. But the point is, you gotta get up and go, just get up and go, don't interrupt the classroom. That's the only thing I'll put somebody out of class for doing, is blocking the learning process for other people that want it. I ain't gonna tolerate that. That's just me. If you would, put don'ts on yours and do's on yours. We're gonna combine another list. One you got do's and one you got don'ts. I'm gonna break the class into teams. You can go around the flip chart and discuss it amongst yourself. The do's and don'ts of an instructor during the 2-day period. The do's and the don'ts of an instructor during the 2-day period. So who wants the don'ts? Don't make me call on you, I will. Go up, move up and go to the flip chart. And we're gonna split the class directly in half. So once we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we're gonna get 5 on this side. Now, I got a question for you. What am I doing now as an instructor? What am I doing? Getting out to see, they're engaged in the process. I don't care how simple or what the question is pertaining to your curriculum, but you're getting them up and they're doing something. You don't want them to sit there for 2 days. Okay, the do's, list the do's that the instructor should do during the 2-day training. List the don'ts that the instructor should not do during the 2 days of training. And what does the instructor do while this is going on? They don't go around and joke, you monitor the process. You monitor the group. What do you mean, don't be drunk?
Don't be drunk. Don't be drunk. Don't be nervous. Don't walk by that person, don't brag now. I'm not saying kick the or hit on, but don't do it. Don't brag now.
Once the conference is over, you do it. You're gone.
Don't worry about that. That's why I was like, you don't want to. Right, why you want to be, no use of language.
We call that blue language in training.
Blue language.
I was gonna say something about the feedback, as far as giving other.
Yeah. Is that considered overteaching? Or we just stay on task? Stay on task and don't. Don't get off. Feeling good. Yeah, actually, don't mess bad on work. Don't be bossy.
Can you say if you're a teacher post?
Inspired, we're more of that aspect, so we want to be respectful, you know. We have that with our class, we have people that.
So what do you do now?
Just how we.
Temperature, class,
We are built for. Yeah, that's what Sean was like.
Everybody got out and made signs. Be careful, guys. Also, I mean, you know.
I would say.
Be now. And open to.
It just is, you know, makes sense. Get so many, you know, I mean, I joke the word all the time.
You know, just say, oh, I want to say something, just say, hey, well, that ain't right.
What do you say? Don't answer right? No, don't assume, don't assume. Right? You know, but if you don't, if I don't ask you, right, you ask me. You can tell me ain't nothing wrong with it. But if you're quiet, you can say, hey,
and or they go through the conversation.
I need you to be vaccinated. You know, I was in the building, you know, I was vaccinated, I got both. I had a guy there first thing he did was say, he was asystematic because his key had got COVID. And he was asystematic. I said, but you didn't. Right. But you can't do the work. You know, and the guy that worked in front of me, you can tell that I was trying to get people to I was like, and she had something. I said, you should have me take that home. I said, you never thought about that? That's pretty selfish.
See, how we doing? Good. Have we ran out of the list? Are we done? Huh? You never know. Never done. Good point. So was your other point over there. Now, if you're done, get your coffee or your water or donut, and then go back to your flip chart, because we're going to talk about what you wrote. Please. If you gotta go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. If you're done, get you some coffee, water, donuts, whatever, and then come back to the flip chart.
That's why I put that out there on the web.
We're gonna have to get together, man.
You can't work that.
Jenny Boo?
Let me know.
I know you know.
Great.
I was about to tell the same story.
He actually got we have to
Asking no questions on y'all. Okay.
Are we ready? We gotta move on.
She's like, no, I'm walking away.
Please reconvene at your flip chart. So now what I expect you to do. Yeah, everybody, whichever chart you, no, let's do this. Switch. There you go. That's a good.
Are we gonna get our interpretation of what they wrote down?
You're gonna get what?
We're gonna have our interpretation of what they wrote down?
Exactly. All right. Exactly. Switch. I'll tell you now, because I'm using point of camera here. Where we going? I was gonna also. Oh, okay. Is that Dan? Oh, just want to be able to see what we're doing. These are the instructions. These are the instructions. Hold on.
One meeting.
I want everybody to participate, no matter how the list is written, each one of you will take one, and we will alternate, and you will explain what that means. You got me? Do I need to repeat that?
Well,
Everybody's gonna take one, I mean, wherever, I don't care how you line your people up, your people, you're gonna read the next one on the list, and we're gonna alternate back and forth, and you're gonna explain what that means. Instructors should not do whatever it is, instructors should do whatever it is. So captains, facilitators, where are you? You're captain, you make your line up on who's gonna report out on what. And let's begin. Let's go with the dudes first. This is what I want you to do, explain it, and then ask if there are any questions, because somebody might want to question your answer.
All right, we're gonna do the first dude. Okay.
First dude.
Hey, welcome to AAIU. My name Damon Sykes.
hey, brother.
So what you do, you speak in a loud, not a loud, but you gotta be loud enough for them to hear you. They have to understand you. You have to make your voice clear to the people, project to the people in the back of the room. You don't wanna sit there and basically go, well, you know, it's gonna be like this. You wanna use proper English. You know, you gotta be careful of the slang you use. That's like some people have problems with people who wear sagging pants. Some people have problems with a lot of things, the way you speak. You have to make sure that you ain't doing, you got a lot of, I call it the Matthew Stafford syndrome. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard him speak at a press conference, but that's how he does things. It was a lot of,
Please, Lord.
Hey, get off the staff, get off the staff.
So that's what you do. You just gotta be loud. Speak clearly and loud enough for people to hear you. You'll be okay.
Speaking monotone, is that okay?
No, you have to have a raising, raising the low in your voice, so they'll follow. Almost like a preacher.
Don't come to class.
Hey, move out the way.
Or hot,
Hey, move out the way.
or hot. Please be sober. Why? Come to class sober. That means no edibles, no alcohol.
So animals.
No edibles, no alcohol, no vaping in class.
I know your audience.
I know your audience.
Walk out of class.
No vaping in class.
No Jews, no, exactly.
Amen.
Our second do is educate.
Attention, please.
Educate. That's what we're there for, to educate. And sometimes it might veer off the topic a little bit, like we got parliamentary procedure. But then I have to say that we're gonna educate you in another area of African American leadership. So educate is what we're there to do.
Don't be disrespectful, meaning that, say, if my sister's over here talking and she's carrying on, and I want to start to have a conversation with Tina, and I become louder than she is, I mean, we have to talk to someone that knows about the phone, a phone call, about respect to the people who have the floor at that time, and don't ever try to hurt, tear anyone down on what they may say or think or have their opinion on. Just be respectful, because that's what they may see or what they may think or feel.
Anybody else on that one?
There's no reason to shame somebody about their ignorance. We are here to instruct and teach and educate in our lives, and doing so, being disrespectful, oh, you don't know that, or whatever, however you say it, does nothing but make that person shut down.
And that's the beauty about this whole thing, right? We're here, we're free to make mistakes. This is a safe place where you can do that.
We're learning.
Create that climate where people are willing to contribute.
And it's also your students is teaching you too.
Absolutely.
And so that they understand that their mistake is part of their learning.
We learn from mistakes.
Next, on my side.
Make it fun. Make it fun is an excitement that dwells within all of us that we can
bring out in ways that inspire people. One of the things that a lot of us, or probably most of us in the room, we have children or grandchildren. And or great grand. We can use all kinds of things that affect us in our life. If you like comedy, if you like certain shows, one of my favorite shows that I love to watch all the time to this day, I love Sanford and Son. I watch Sanford and Son almost. I watch Sanford and Son at least 2 or 3 times because you know, to see Fred Sanford fuss at Esther, you old fish eye fool. Anything that you can pull from your creative mind that inspire you, that brings laughter out of you or something, add that into your teaching, add that into the encouragement of the class, and also let people understand we come together to teach, but we also come together to inspire and take what we all have taken a part of all these years to help us keep them creatively thinking and creatively longing on for wanting more. All right, that's right.
Don't over teach. Over teaching can, too much oversaturation, too much water you drown. Basically. All right. So sometimes you gotta cut the steak up and feed it to them. All right. Too much you just don't retain it, you don't gather it. It's in one ear out the other, so do not over teach.
You wanna interact with the class, right? You wanna get everybody involved. I mentor a 6th grade class and I brought a judge to talk to the kids. And they broke up the class and he made the most quiet kid be the judge. And then by the end of it, he said, order in my court, right? That's hilarious, but you want to involve everybody to get the most out of the class.
Don't lose track of time. So as a facilitator or instructor, what we try to do, we try to give a 5-minute warning or 10-minute warning of the instructor, because we have some instructors that can go on and on and on. You have to know to cut him off, you know.
You want to politely let the person know that time is.
So what should you do if you got 15 minutes more to teach and you only got 5 minutes to teach? So what I personally do, if it's an instructor that I know, whatever, I come over, I say he's talking, I might just tap his shoulder, you know, or we try to make eye contact and he to know that, 5 minutes. Some of them that you might have to say, watch her, we got 5 minutes left.
Should I ask something? No, you didn't answer his question.
No, you didn't.
You didn't answer his question.
Brother asked the question, what if you only got 5 more minutes of material and you got 15 minutes to go?
No, the other way around.
Other way around?
You got 15 minutes worth of material and you only got 5 minutes to teach it. What do?
You can ask the class if they want to yield some of their time so you can finish.
You could do that.
Yeah.
It's lunch.
Or
Truncate.
what does he mean, truncate? That's a big word, Walter.
Cut it short.
And
Get the highlights of the most important. There you go. Or informal, hey, this is what we were gonna go over, but we're gonna cut it short. This is important. You can on my own time.
And then take the very next step. When you come back after lunch, we'll pick up where you left off. If we got the time to fill it in, we can do that.
And as a facilitator, I think I add that if you're actually keeping time, the best thing to do, since you're gonna be in that U shape, so everybody's looking at everybody, you can sort of be like this right here.
Just like here.
You
Just
know.
say time.
Please understand that every workshop or every room won't be set up in that manner. So again, it's important that you guys, as facilitators and instructors, have a communication amongst each other and be respectful, and it doesn't have to include everybody in the workshop at times. So
One of the techniques that I use is I generally appoint or ask somebody in the class for the students to be the timekeeper. They are so proud to let you know, you only got so.
Too many warning, understand who your long talkers are.
Absolutely.
And through parliamentary procedure, you only have to call on somebody once. I learned that from Skip.
And depending on, and to me, I think it's a little bit more respectful, especially like on certain topics So like you said, it's getting close to lunchtime or whatever, then, you know, I can slide him a note, right? And big, you know, handwritten letters, a little small note saying it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes left. You know, step away. I'm not drawing attention to me, but they can continue on doing their business. And just another technique.
We'll take care of that during facilitator training.
Next.
Don't back up.
Dude, keep class on time. So, and as a facilitator, I'm usually in the back of the room. And the instructor's in front. When you teaching, I'm gonna let you know. 5 more minutes, or you got 2 minutes, or just keep your class on time. When we come back, what time we're gonna come back, what time we're gonna get started, what time we're going.
That's all right. Now, I had to ask, what was this?
Bad people.
Bad people.
Right.
Yeah, I had to ask them, but what PTL meant. I never knew people was abbreviated. But, exactly. But the bottom line, don't fast people. Again, we want this environment to be safe. You know, we want them to encourage them, you know, to participate, to learn. You know, again, it kind of goes with the being disrespectful. You don't want to belittle anyone. Call them out their name. You know. Granted, what's that? Being politically correct. I think it's way overdone. But the bottom line, in this moment, while we're there in the workshop, in the classroom, we want to encourage them and stay positive on the information that we're sharing.
I'd like to ask that although we are in a pandemic, we don't have a workshop about the pandemic or about any kind of medical field or whatever. People are, it's become a political thing. I want to extract that from our conference. I don't want the pandemic to be discussed. We don't have a workshop based on the pandemic or any medical field. There's no medical field experts, no speakers on that matter. So I'd like to keep us away from that, if you would. And if it comes up in the workshop, you guys can deflect, okay, if you would. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna give opportunity for feedback and all opinions are respected. Give an opportunity for feedback. After you go through a segment of your class or your outline, you want to engage the participants. It's like, okay, anybody have anything they would like to say about what we just covered? You're gonna come back, whether it's yay, nay, or a tie. It doesn't matter. Your opinion should always be respected. We can agree to disagree, but if you get somebody, I can't be in a classroom telling somebody, that's dumb. You know, they say something like, well, that's dumb. You know, so the thing is, I want to have your feedback. Your opinion has to be respected. And as an instructor, if Walter is in disagreement with Tony, I was like, Walter, I understand what you're saying, but he is entitled to his opinion. And he may come back, well, you know, everybody got one of them, you know. But that's not the point. So that's what that's about. Just, you know, you just gotta respect their opinion and be respectful.
And on that, sometimes you might have to call, you know, you have some people in your class that are, they'll just take a little back seat. You might have, you be there for a few hours, you can walk up and say, you know, ask her in a way to not really put her on the spot, but let her know that she got a chance to speak up, because some people, their hands gonna go up every time. And so sometimes you gotta get that one that, you know, they got something to say, you can look in their eyes, but you're going to pull it out of.
Yeah, because I can say, I'm piggybacking that, you know, say I'm always putting my hand up. Mike can say, well, then you know what, I want to give somebody else a chance to, you know, to talk on this. Okay, now I have to respect that.
Standing in front of the people.
Next one for those is, don't be nervous. As Sid said before, we're in the same space. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all brothers and sisters with family. Don't be nervous. We're here to learn. Even the most seasoned instructor stands to learn something. Just relax, and enjoy the process, enjoy the growth process.
If I can piggyback on that, if you are nervous about speaking with a group, even one-on-one with a certain person, even about people getting reminded that they go with it, there's my instructional staff, whatever, practice. Practice in front of a room, or in front of a mirror, practice in front of somebody that you're safe with, excuse me, about the hell, but practice in front of your cat, if you have a cat. Practice, that will definitely take care of that, or help to take care of that. I'm just saying, you know, the cat, the dog, the toddler, whatever it is.
Go, back to the dudes.
Our next due is be on time. Be on time, be on time. And so with that, with me, Skip and Jennifer, we'll coordinate. I'm pretty sure all of us gonna be there. I'm gonna be there before you get there, my class get there. That's the way I look at it. If the class starts at 8 o'clock, I'm gonna be there. I'm trying for 7:30. You'll already be in the class. You wanna be there when they walk in, and you can kind of greet them and whatever. So if someone's got a little hiccup, one with us three is gonna already be there. So be on time.
There is nothing more embarrassing than to have one of your instructors to not be on time. I had an incident where I instructed with a brother and it was time for workshop. Brother was in his room with his pajamas on. And I just lost it. I was like, I just can't believe this. I was done with him. Y'all know that. And he never returned. Never returned to instruct again, but that was the most embarrassing moment for me. But please, folks, we gotta be on time and we gotta be on task. We are the leaders. And so, again, having selected you all, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with that. But just please be cognizant. I know things happen. People can get sick and so on and so forth. Please communicate, let folks know if that be the case.
And the other thing is, if you're staying at the hotel, which I will be, I think Skip said he depends on the weather, we'll be in the hotel. All we gotta do is, get on down to the class or whatever. And a lot of y'all from Detroit area or might be driving back and forth or whatever.
I want it to be known, and I'm gonna make this public, that again, instructional staff has the ability, if you want, to stay at the hotel for free on the university.
Right.
There are king size beds and 2 double beds if that's what you want, but you need to let me know that today. Some have already done that. I have put out the call, so for those of you who have not, please let me know today so we can have you registered for the room.
So is that instructional only or?
Instructional staff, my dear, there'll be instructors and facilitators.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Means that
Who's in the past that hasn't been there?
we're doing something to do there. Means that we're on that point. It hasn't been said, but I want to bring a point up in regards to the date, like say, for instance, the day Friday morning. Friday morning, one of us get a call, something happening in our home, something happened in our family. Of course, we would address it, but can we give a understanding of what we can do, a plan B on that one? Because any one of us can hit a situation at the last moment.
Well, sir, let me just say
Yeah,
this.
hold on, we already talked about it. That's what the teaching outline plan be. So you be on task for what your rest of your instructional staff is gonna do. Then if something happens, you should be able to pick up. You might not have researched enough or whatever, but you should be knowledgeable enough to do everything that's on your teacher plan by yourself. If you have to.
Because like, in my class, Skip is the expert in parliamentary procedure, like I said. This will be my first time teaching it, but I'm gonna research it, and I'm gonna be ready. If something don't happen, God forbid, to Skip or Jennifer, and I'm gonna be ready to move forward with the class and get us through the 2 days.
Thank you.
All right, well, it's my time. Because I didn't know I had to be on.
wanna get different.
We want to be the.
Hey, y'all don't be getting your swerve on during class. Wait until after class. And try to wait until after Saturday if you want to get on one of them, right? Because I know you got to get in there early before the rest of the rush come in. I understand that, but if your game ain't good enough to wait till Saturday, then you ain't got no game. What I really record? There's a question. That's what the single got. So the single got.
I gotta say one thing. Those who was in Atlanta last year for the conference, Walter put that suit on that day. Walter had that suit on. I want Walter. I'm making a motion that Walter wear that suit this weekend, that weekend of the conference. That suit, boy, that suit was a little. It was the blue one. Walter was on a new level that day.
I've never seen that.
He was GQ.
You say, don't put out no challenge. Because they'll come for me, all right? They will come for me. It's not
I'm sorry to come off task, guys, but as I see Walter, I remember that suit. He had that Billy D walk. He was the man in the room.
Walter Robinson.
Yeah.
Stay on it.
Blue, I was like, I'm asking, please, Walter, can you wear that?
Yeah, he was blue. Look like a Smurf. Look like a Smurf. Point order.
The next one is be respectful and courteous. And that's not just to the classroom, that's how we're at the facility at all times, to the staff, to everybody. We are the leaders. How we have this conference, people look up to us. A lot of times, this will be a first time somebody comes to a conference like this. I mean, we lead the way and show them how to act, so.
Well said.
Abusive language, I mean, that's easy. You know what is abusive. You know what is considered curse words. You know how to be polite. You should be that at all times.
Staff is held to a higher standard. There is no place for blue language in the classroom. I can cuss with the best of them, but I'm not gonna use that language in here.
And or any time that we're around about.
One other thing, while you're on that, if you use an acronym, explain what it is. Don't assume everybody knows.
Don't say B, because or the S, because it can stand for many things, and the most common ones are not the, they're the most offensive ones.
And also be cognizant that every student is not UAW.
That part.
Gauge the temperature of the class and the
Energy.
Oh, energy. Just see how temperature, how energy of the class. Hey, if they downbeat, throw some upbeat stuff in there. They sad, throw some happy stuff in there. That's it. That's how you gauge it.
And an additional way to gauge them, if there's a subject matter that comes up and you see people are eager to talk about it, you might want to take some time and address it. As opposed to, we're done with that, we're moving on, but people will be sitting there seething. I'm gonna give them a chance. As long as if it's discuss it a little bit now, at some point, we gotta move on.
You like 2 minutes.
All right, okay, you got any more?
Next on don'ts is don't get off task. Absolutely, point of order. Don't get off task. If we're not on the right road, we can't get to the right place. They signed up to be inspired and educated. Let's keep it that way, make it fun. Because that's why we all here right now, because we all are inspired. So y'all started. So I'm here because I'm inspired. Be real. But don't get off task.
The village sites is busy. Inspire the class. Do inspire the class. That's what we're there for. As far as with our teachers, our education, our knowledge, to help inspire the class, interact with them. All those different methods that we're learning here today, inspire our class. Another thing that, I'm sorry.
Ours is don't be bossy. Don't be bossy in class. You got to boss of me. You just want to go on, it's self-explanatory. Don't be bossy.
I think this is union, right, Jennifer?
Hang on, view, sorry guys, I was writing fast, view.
Okay, be knowledgeable and open to different points of view. There is our ideas and everyone else's ideas. We can't be controlling of our own thinking in our own ways, and we have to also be open and acceptable to the views of our peers as well as the class. Our openness, our transparency, all those things are important, and it's important also to listen to the transparency of the individuals that are listening and also sharing their experiences in the classroom, because as we think, we believe in something and how our desires may be, it could be something totally Greek. Phil and I may both like sweet potato pie, but there's somebody in the classroom that don't like sweet potato pie. They had an experience with sweet potato pie that wasn't like ours. And they feel very, adamant about it. And they may make a big, long, suggestive understanding about it, but to the point of it is allow, also accept and respect, and we step back.
They make like funny about it, even though it's wrong.
Ryan's got a question.
No, the other thing to add on to him that I didn't say when to get off task, especially facilitators, one thing I learned is learn how to parking lot a lot of sidebar conversations. Because it will get off task and time will be consumed if you eat up a lot of time with those sidebar conversations. Make sure you create a parking lot, write it down, and get back to it later if you can. If not, if you can't get back to them, good facilitator, get the information and slap it to them for the class. We can even have the ability to have a group chat sometime, and then get it all done.
Or some people just might want to discuss it further after class, and I know a lot of instructors will provide that mentorship after the fact.
One of the notes is do not assume. No path is you and me, right? Check for understanding. If you do not know something, it's nothing against you as a person. If you do not understand something, you do not have the definition or the knowledge of a particular item or subject that comes up in the classroom, ask for understanding. Ask the person that gave you the question, whether it needs a little bit more explanation on it, so you can help them. I'll help the participants out. There's no such thing as a wrong question or a wrong answer. Don't assume like you know everything. Yeah.
We gotta listen to students and respond accordingly. Skip just gave us a good example. When he said to students, if it's a hot topic, something they wanna talk about as a whole, or group, or majority, democratic process, listen to them. You may want to even ask somebody in the class if they want to speak on it. Like I said, we don't know everything. We may have a knowledge of what we're teaching, but we don't know everything. We don't know everybody's moves. So when the student asks you something, like, hey, dang, and you just give them some, generic answer. That's not an answer to what they're looking for. They're looking for something that's concrete and solid.
Well, actually, I was gonna say there's something underneath that point in, what you call it?
Not just to respond, but understand what you're talking about. You gotta know, if you don't know what you're talking about, you might be better off asking somebody else in the class, do they wanna participate?
And I think it's a prime time to say this, because you got a wealth of knowledge on the instructional staff at the conference. At some point, when we used to do this, the question came up in my room about your expertise, whatever you got, can you take 2 minutes to come in and say something? Go get your expert and give them, let them know what you want them to do, come in and don't take up too much time. 2 or 3 minutes, and get out of here. So you got the wealth of knowledge around you, use it.
Also, to piggyback off of it, what I've done in some of my classes is we have a separate board and we call it the parking lot. So if the topic comes up that we don't have time to address right at this moment, we're gonna put it here in the parking lot. And on the last day or the first thing in the morning, we're gonna address those topics real quick, and then we'll proceed with the rest of the class.
Yeah, because nothing's worse than a person asking you something, and you put it in that parking lot or whatever, but you never address it. And they're gonna sit there, their whole class, and go, and you gonna go, yes, David, when we gonna talk about that? When we gonna talk about that?
But that's all.
Watch it.
The most important thing is when someone asks a question and you go to answer it, or one of your co-instructors go and answer it, make sure that they understand. Go back and say, did that answer your question?
Right.
Make sure that they understood what you were saying, and that you answered their question, because you might give them a long answer and then you say, is that it? No, that's not it. Okay, so do that.
I think it's also wise to include it in your agenda, in your lesson plan, so that you can remind yourself to go back to it, to make sure that you remind yourself to revisit, because a lot goes on.
Mhm.
Forget it.
True that, and then you can also ask that person, look, you know, if there's a lot of moving parts going on, you know, come back and let me know, like, hey, Damon, can you address this for me? Okay, do you want the whole class to know, or you just need to answer for yourself? Because then they can say, okay, like somebody was saying, you want to give up some of your time? Okay, we can sit there and deal with it. If Brother Lampkin want to stand there with me, and we can all work it out together, even quick, you know, but the person needs to walk out of that classroom knowing that we did the best that we could do. We could offer. That makes the conference look good, and make the organizers look good. Another point I want to make, when you teach your classes, you see Gordon walk into the room, give him a minute to speak. If he chooses to speak, you know, Gordon, you got to, you know, hey, there's, you know,
I will be visiting, but I want you all to carry on. You can acknowledge me. Unless I ask for it.
Right, and, you know.
Okay, so we're gonna move along just a little bit. We know that we don't want to be late. We already discussed that. And we want to set a good example. We obviously don't want to set a bad example. That's pretty self-explanatory. So,
Yes, now.
yes, sir.
I just want to say that, this is our first conference of this nature. And I know the board said about the hotel, but my job, I have to do is pay for my hotel. But also too. And so if your union is gonna pay for your hotel, that would be a great help to this conference. If you can do those type of things, it might help somebody else along the way. But like I said, my job pays for my hotel and all that other stuff. So if you have that built in, and your job is sitting, they got the sheet, they can see that you're an instructor. A lot of unions will step up and say, hey, we'll pay your hotel because you're an instructor at this conference, and it'll help us as we continue to grow.
Okay. Go ahead, brother.
You can take your seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got two things before we close this section of the training. The first is there anything you need to discuss that we heard of this do and don't list, or what instructors should do before the class meeting that we need to, you got a question on? Mike?
My only thing is about the parking lot and all that, you just gotta be careful that somebody who wanted male-female relationship don't make your class male-female relationship, so you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Yes.
With how far you go with parking lot stuff, because you can go off a whole other tangent.
Devote some time to it. Who was it that said, address it? Don't just put it up there and forget about it. Address it, even if you have to say, I'm sorry, weren't able to get the answer to this right now, so we'll address it at a later date. And you might want to go to the library, pull out your library that you got to keep in your pocket. And GTS, Google that. I didn't use that language, but you know what I meant. And you could do that. Now, any other questions on what we covered today?
Does Gordon want this filled out for each class? Even though
Yes,
we
sir.
sent you.
Yes, sir.
This exact form.
Unless you, actually, I would like for you to use that form, but I know a number of you have sent me an email detailing your outline, but that form will be an excellent form for me to actually have in hand. So yes, each workshop.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'm gonna give a quick assessment of what I saw, and most of you, and even with the mask on, I can hear you talking, people are projecting, and that's what I want you to do as an instructor. When you have the room, you have the floor in the room, command the floor. It's your floor, talk about what you want to talk about, ask for input from your instructional staff members if you need it, or if you want it, or if you want a difference of opinion, ask them what they think. Don't be afraid to call on the students and get some information and get some feedback. I think it's gonna be a great conference based on what I saw here. I know most of you, because I've seen you teach before, and I used to come around and visit the rooms, and it wasn't just to see who's in the room, it was to see how the instructional staff was interacting with each other and with the class. And I am so proud, because when I see people out in the streets, anywhere I go that has ever had anything to do with BMIU, they give me credit. But it wasn't me teaching all those classes, it was you. So it makes me so proud, my heart gets to thumping, I'm like, I see people in leadership position, and to a person, they say, if it wasn't for BMIU, I wouldn't be here. I learned this, and look at me now. I used to keep track of who went where, but we had people that ran for political office and made it and sat in. Brenda Jones just retired from the Detroit City Council, 6 terms.
Thank you.
She cut her teeth at BMIU. Doc Q was the city councilman in
Ohio, Warren, Ohio.
Warren, Ohio. There was a young man who was a city council person in East Point, Detroit. All these people came and learned and went out and conquered. So I don't think that will not continue to go on under the AAIU. I thank you for your time. I appreciate you participating in this abbreviated training.
Appreciate you, brother.
One last thing. Conduct after class.
Yes, sir. Come on now.
In all the years that I was associated with the program, I only had to ask one person to stop, and basically I suspended it. You can't do nothing. And I'm not gonna mention his name. But long story short, somebody came and said, you better come down to the bar. I don't really go, I walk through the bar and see what's going on, but I go down there as this instructor, leaning all over the table, drunk, hollering at people, pointing fingers, oh my God. Can't do nothing right now, but we'll talk later. What happened was I suspended the brother, and Reverend Mark Phillips, maybe 3 years later, came back and said, this brother been suspended, you ever gonna let him come back? What's gonna happen? I said, Mark, he can come back, but you got it. He's your facilitator, right? Wasn't a half a day went by before Mark came back and said, man, I can't do it, come get it. You know, and the killing part is, the brother passed away, sadly to say. I went to his funeral. His reverend said the same thing to the congregation about the brother that I already knew. That he was a handful, he wanna have his way, and he gonna run things after a few drinks with whatever. And I thank God for that experience.
Thank you, sir. That was most important. Because again, after the workshop is over, folks, we're still part of the organization. And so your conduct during the course of the weekend has everything to do with the organization. So I'm begging you, please, I think I know just about everybody here. And I think we're good. Unless somebody made a turn here somewhere. I'll let you know. But yeah, please be on your best. I'm not saying don't engage with folks, or have a good time after the workshop is over, but just maintain. Is there any questions that anybody has? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, you're good. If you gotta leave, I understand. Yes, sir.
Do we know, what the package of the workshop?
I think we will have social distancing, okay, because there's room. And we want to have the ultimate, number of people to attend if we can, but basically we're looking at having at least 225 to 250 so that we can just be, we can make a little money with this break even type of thing. So we can stand more and we can take more. Again, the workshops are such that, you know, we'll have space. So that shouldn't be a concern.
Speaking of that, it's a different process to sign up for these classes. And we know that locals have, you know, sent 10 people in each place or whatever. So we're not seeing it on the back end. So if you're having troubles getting people signed up or registered, please let us know. If we have to start getting the numbers in to know where we're at, it's a problem. This is our first time out. We want to be very successful. Ran into some issues with Chrysler. So all the Ford and GM locations really need to show out. Please talk to people, bring them in. I talked to CWA for Detroit and Ohio. We're trying to get more other unions out in other places and sources of revenue through people, right? That's what this is. So please, any issues, but also solicit. Talk this conference up, and you need any help, let us know.
Okay, and just for your clarification, Eric, Ryan doesn't want a cap on his room. He doesn't want a cap on his room. So as many participants he can get is what he wants. He doesn't want a cap. Some of the instructors have asked for a cap on their room of how many participants can be in their classroom.
Brother Matt will be, he will be addressing the entire delegation in one of the general sessions as well. So we'll have that covered. Walter.
Yes. So I'm here to talk about facilitator responsibilities. I've passed out a sheet for that. So of course, most of the stuff we've already been through. Facilitators be on time and appropriately dressed. Business casual, if that's what you have, your instructional team has come up with. If they want to show out, then you got to show out with it. Okay. Make sure you have everything you need in your class packet. I'm hoping that we will have a packet to give the facilitators before the class, during the instructor.
Yeah. It's like 20, 25
meeting before the conference, okay, which will be on that Thursday afternoon before the conference. So to get a class pack, make sure you look and make sure your markers are in. Make sure your name tests are in there. Make sure your certificates are in there and your sign. Okay, so hopefully, this is all new for Eastern Michigan. Hopefully, all of that stuff gets accommodated. We hope so. Familiarize yourself with the layout of the venue and accommodations. Find out what the restrooms are, what the vending machines are, where the ATM is, and the emergency exit just in case anything happens. Okay. Help with the setup of the room. That is on Thursday night. If you get a chance to get in there Thursday night, if not, Friday morning before, while everybody's eating breakfast, go to your room. Make sure your room is set up. Check out the AV. Make sure that all the technology works the way it's supposed to, so that you can get somebody in there to fix it before your class starts. Okay, so even though this is for the facilitator, the same goes for the instructors. Yes, Tina.
Who will be providing the water for the class?
Whoever cleans the room up. They will give out pictures, right? Pictures of water.
So we can't bring in like cases of water because people might want to have pictures.
That's gonna be up to you.
Okay.
Hotel is going to provide pitchers of water, cups or whatever, or actually they're gonna have water dispensers.
Right.
So there's not just pitchers, they'll have dispensers with the cups. So if you want to bring a bottle of water, you can do.
Yeah, so I know we had to stay in there once for the people from Flint, didn't want to drink water out of pitchers. So, unfortunately, because of, we don't have a track record with this school. Okay, so some of this stuff, we kind of have to show them what the value of AAIU is. And then after that, we probably get a clean blank checks, but right now, you know, they're checking all of the stuff that they can. Yes, ma'am.
Are we able to bring in like snacks and stuff for the classroom, or is it just gonna be just the?
Listen, we are still in a pandemic. Our, segment of society has gotten hit pretty hard. Please be careful with what you're doing so far as that's concerned. Okay, if you want to bring in something,
Just pre-wrapped stuff like chips or something that's individually. And
yeah,
make sure
yeah,
stay away from peanuts, make it general so you don't get
yeah,
into.
stuff that people are digging their
Right.
hands in.
Yeah, so.
We should, yeah, we should have been doing that before, because some people don't know how to wash their hands.
No.
Yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, we negotiated that through the food, right? So that during the break times, they'll have.
We have
cookies.
outside food stuff? Okay. Okay.
Correct, Bill?
Supposedly, yeah.
All right, help with the room. If you are running all this video, come and go check it. This is before the workshop, so get all of that stuff together the day before, the morning before, how you gonna do that. During the workshop, make sure that the room is clean and orderly. Yes, sir.
Is anybody in here using AV? Because I don't think there is, correct?
Everyone has reported to me any use of any AV equipment, so therefore the answer is no.
Okay, so we're doing these boards, and that's what we're gonna have in each room.
You will have,
So-
you'll have more.
So you're saying like I just want someone to power, on a flash drive, it's just a steel shot, like it might be a African American leader board. It's no big deal. I was gonna bring my laptop. So we have access, just plug in, show someone on the screen, or no?
They gotta have a
projector.
camera, they gotta have a projector.
Oh, so they won't have anything?
No.
This is
Yes,
just
you
something.
can
laptop.
for
Okay,
There
it's
is-
fine. It's okay.
Again, there's no specific AV equipment in the room per se.
Okay,
They do have the screens that are in each room, but if we need a projector or something of that nature, that needs to be something we have to pay for.
If you need a projector, I have a projector.
what's the cost of it though? Do you know?
$900.
Pretty expensive.
$100 per room.
Per room?
Yeah.
Okay,
You want to look, if you do without it, that's good.
yeah,
You want to look things that kill you.
Yeah.
yeah.
If you got your own
Yeah, but
stuff,
Walter just said he has one.
if you have your own stuff, we can bring it in, but you have to operate it.
It's not essential to the classroom. It's just an optic. It's just an optic.
Okay. Make sure you clean, the room is clean and orderly. This is a union shop. We want to make sure that, the people that are there get to do their job, but we don't want to be pigs. Okay, so just throw the stuff and have your participants throw the stuff in the trash as they leave. You know, we don't want to be pigs, all right? Distribute name ticks when you get into your room, make sure everyone has a name tag. Assist participants in finding their workshops. The facilitator should be standing outside the room during the passing of class. And if someone had, hey, I need to find, okay, go down there. Or if you don't know, hey, somebody, come over here and help this young man, young lady, whatever, find their class. But you should have prepared yourself, and we can't remember all of that stuff, I understand. But at least know what rooms are around you. Everybody, are we on one floor, we on 2 or 3 floors?
Two.
Floors? Two. Okay, so yeah, so it'll be someone around, and I don't know if we need to have a group of people or a committee that knows and can take people around. We'll talk about that. Start the workshop on time. Introduce the workshop yourself and your instructors if that's how you're gonna do it. Circulate, retrieve, turn in class, sign-in sheets each session. So I'm not sure, some of this stuff is from the old program. So I don't know if they want the sign-in sheets after the end of every session, like they wanted to at the last event. Okay, but if it is, then make sure you pick up your sign-in sheets, make sure you turn them in, so the people will get credit for the class and they will be able to get their certificates. Make sure that their names are spelled correctly on the sign-in sheet, because if they're misspelled on the sign-in sheet, they will be misspelled on the certificate. Okay? Make sure you do that. If they look at it and cross it out and respell their name, get that information to the registration table as soon as possible so that they can reprint their certificates. Right?
Name.
Why not?
That's right, J. Bug.
Well, it's the name that needs to go back to TAP, right? To approve it for the class, so you want it to be legit.
All right, so determine the class rules, that's between the instructional staff, what the class rules gonna be. Or you can throw it out to the participants and say, hey, what are some of the rules that we need to adhere to? Sometimes that works better because that they buy in on that, because that is those are their rules. And they'll help enforce those rules, because they're the ones that came up with it, okay? However you wanna do it. Make sure you listen, we talked about that before. The responsibility as timekeeper should be the facilitator, all right? It's just as simple, like I said, we make sure that you have some type of communication device. You stand on the back and do like this, or hey, what's up, or come on, it's time to go, or whatever. However you gonna do it, you don't have to disrupt the class to make sure that people stay on time. All right. Oversee the workshop discipline. If you come up with a rule, then the facilitator should be the one to enforce the rule. All right. Make conference announcements to the class. Maintain and pass out workshop materials and packets. If you can, please pass out those type of things during breaks or at the beginning of the class, or don't pass it out to the end of class. Everybody talks about, we've been talking about Brother Mark Phillips. And that was when I first started teaching with him, that's one of the biggest fights that we had. I wanted to pass out stuff throughout the class, and he said, no, we're gonna pass it out at the end of class. And I was like, man, what are you talking about? And so after we did it, and when we didn't pass all that stuff out, what I noticed is that people would be writing notes. While we're writing, they're writing too. When you write, that's one of the things that keeps things embedded in your brain, because you are writing it also. And then when we pulled all that stuff out at the end and gave it to them, everybody, the whole class just fell apart. They were so happy that they got that packet of all that stuff that we were writing down. So however you want to do it, just don't do it during class, because somebody's up here instructing and you're running around doing all this, okay? Try not to do that when someone's up talking and speaking, all right? Maintain and pass out workshop materials. Make additional copies if you need to. If you fall short, make sure you see the registration table, get more copies. Please try not to do that as much as possible. If you have 40 people in your class, make 55 copies, okay? All right, because we're gonna get bang for it at the hotel. Assist the instructors with specific tasks. Anything they tell you to do, you should be open to do it. Present a 20 to 30-minute portion of class instruction with instructors' permission. So if you put your hand up and say you can do it, please do it, all right? Check with conference coordinators and conference staff from time to time to see if anything needs to be alerted to the classroom. Make sure that they know whatever's going on. Hey, this is going on at 5 o'clock. This is going on at 3 o'clock. This is what we're doing tomorrow. Make sure that people know what's going on over and above what's on the agenda, all right? Come prepared to learn, smile and enjoy yourself. That's the most important thing. Because if you don't enjoy yourself, then people won't enjoy yourself. The hardest thing to do, the toughest time during adult learners to catch them is the first 2 minutes. If the first 2 minutes you grab them and you keep them, they will buy in. But if you first 2 minutes, if you stumbling, then all of a sudden people start finding fault with you. They start, oh man, you don't know what he's talking about, and then they start falling out. Okay, so make sure the first 2 minutes, however you open up, it's gonna be forceful, it's gonna be succinct, and you're gonna be able to get your, the kind of way that you have your classroom style, make sure that you give it to them right then. And once they buy in, you got the class. But before, if you stumble during that first 2 minutes, you're gonna stumble with the whole class, just trying to get them back, all right? So the do's and don'ts, what we already said, don't distract from the instructors. That means that while they're up teaching, don't be sitting over here at the table doing this stuff, okay? Best thing to do is when somebody's up in front of the class, move over to the side. Go to the back, don't be a disruption. Don't be a disruption to the class by doing a bunch of goofy stuff, okay? I say goofy stuff, but just don't take people's focus away from who's speaking, all right? Don't bunch up in front of the room. All 3 of y'all shouldn't be up here together. It's just goofy, man. Don't do that. So the one person can be over there, one person can be over there, spread out, so that if you want to make a point, then all of a sudden when you're back in the back, you say, hey, I want to piggyback on that, what everybody has to do. They have to turn and look. So that also keeps their attention from waning. So don't bunch up in the front of the room. Use the whole room. Do use different colored markers to keep the board lively. We already talked about that. Do walk through the room to keep people alert. There's nothing wrong while you're talking, just walking through. And then if you just happen to see somebody that might be falling off because, like Jennifer said, be crew, all that kind of stuff. You just go by lightly and just touch them, And we want to be able to move through the room, keep people attention to you. And if someone's falling asleep, you ain't got to make no big thing about it. You might even just want to go by and just kick them, kick the table. Something. You don't want to do that too much because somebody might get up and start swinging on you. So,
Maybe I should do you like Glenn Martin and me. What? Remember that lady was reading that book?
Oh, crap. that was Skip's group. That was the lady that.
Oh, the poet,
yeah.
wrote the book.
Yeah. But, so if anybody has questions on any of this stuff that's on here, please, if you have a facilitator that you need a copy for, make sure you let me know so I can give you an extra copy. Yes, JB.
Actually, it does have something to do with this, but Tony brought it up before. Did we decide to make the decision that we were gonna do collectives, or we're gonna do that now? Because I know that's usually a part of facilitator's responsibility.
We'll let Warden to this, and I had conversation with Warden, and I've had conversation with Skip, with Phil already. Listen, we are going to be going the week after BMIU, okay? I don't want to sit up and have someone go to BMIU and then somebody come to AAIU and then say, man, they doing the same thing that BMIU did. Same thing I saw last week, man. This is back, man. So even though the people in this room is the one that originated that stuff that they've been doing over there, they're going to be not stealing, because they're going to be using a lot of things that we probably will be using. Okay, so let's be careful with what we're doing. Let's try to keep something fresh. Let's try to keep it new. We can do collective, but we might have to do a different way of calling it a different thing. There you go, brother.
I'm gonna say we're gonna forego the collectives for this particular conference. I think the instruction is much more important. We'll have some, or actually the facilitators should encourage the workshop to put together like a small presentation for Sunday, just in terms of what they learned or what they covered, or something like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a collective per se.
No
Okay.
skits. You don't have to be a skit.
It don't have to be a skit because we won't have time for all that on Sunday.
Each class is nominated spokesperson.
Facilitate, that'd be fine, one or two spokespersons, or, whatever, that'd be fine. Just something small, it ain't gonna be a big deal, ain't gonna be no skit, no big presentation. Everybody copy? Yeah. All right. Anything else? Oh, yes.
I say.
Let me say this before Brother Skip leaves. I want to thank him for his service. Thank him Thank you all for coming, even those of you online. I want to thank all of you again for your commitment towards African Americans and Unions Leadership Conference. And I think we are done for today.
Okay, and we got information over here to take with you.
Yeah, we got registration forms over here, you guys need them. And we got-
Registration forms.
We got donuts.
That's our fundraiser. Anybody got a business or whatever to,
Anybody knows anybody that needs that
yeah,
we
yeah.
can add, okay?
Yeah,
I know it says the 31st, the 30th is the last day. We will extend that for a few more days, maybe to about the 5th. If anyone knows somebody that wants to put an ad in the souvenir booklet,
we got applications right here.
you got the application form?
Is that on here? Oh, right here. Somebody that grabs. Oh, this is registration form for ads?
This is for the ads. That's for the ads, that's for the conference, and then that's just the introduction letter right there.
Did you ever get that information I told you that I needed for that, ad for the, like for the round table that the Apple needed to be in the Washington?
I sent it back to you after I adjusted
I
it.
don't know, I just hit it.
Yeah, check your email. I sent it right back. Yeah, so I figured it was good. So I had lightened it up.
Yeah, it just needs to be like that.
Yeah, I sent it back to you. It's almost instant. Yeah, check the same email.
Okay, 'cause it looked like it was the same thing.
No,
Okay.
look at
You want any
it.
leftovers?
Huh?
You want any leftovers?
Not necessarily.
Everybody got flyers?
Give me one.
Okay.
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 Oh, that's done.
Okay, thank you, guys.